Jordan Ellis here for Low Kick MMA. Today I've got with me Dalton Rosta. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. What are you doing right now? Is there some type of quarantine period before the fight?
There is a quarantine protocol. Yeah, it's just quarantine as much as you can while training and doing everything necessary for the fight. I had yoga this morning, then I actually have a conditioning circuit pretty right after this phone call. So that's my agenda for the day. It's more of like an active recovery day, and then back at it hard again tomorrow, and then fly out on Sunday.
Okay. And once you get there, will there be some type of protocol where you're stuck in a hotel room for 24 hours or 48 hours or something like that?
Yeah, so they had yesterday. I had to do a like self swab on on a Zoom call with the doctor that they sent me in the mail and mailed back out overnight before I get on the plane. Once we land, after we get to the hotel, they test us again. We have to quarantine our room for 48 hours until Tuesday, and then we're able to start working out, and we get our portables on saunas and everything that we get to use to cut weight.
It's a tough time to be a fighter with everything that's going on. So how are you finding it? Training wise, do you feel like it's taken away from your training camp, all this stuff going on?
No. I got to talk a lot about this. I mean, with everything, whether it's injuries, family, uh, just training, at just anything really, you always go through adversity, and there's always obstacles that you have to go around to train and like make this a career and make this work. And I just saw it as another obstacle. We go through adversity a lot, and you always find a way to overcome it. So we found ways to train. We got the work that we needed to get in to get better, to progress, and we're ready for the fight.
And on fight night, it'll be your debut at middleweight. Is that right?
Yes.
So how is that going? Obviously, that's an extra, pressure of an extra 20 pounds you've got to shift. So how's that going for you?
I was pretty heavy last Sunday, and then I got the call on Wednesday, and that I could be fighting on the card. Didn't get offered an opponent or anything yet, but so that's whenever I started dieting, just as if I was gonna fight. And right now I'm sitting at about 193 pounds, so it's going well. I only got another 7, 8, give or take a pound for fluctuation to cut in the next 6 days. Weigh-ins on Thursday, so it's going pretty good. I should make weight, no problem. Well, I'm gonna make weight, but it should be no problem. Regardless, I'm gonna make weight.
Good. And just moving on, obviously there's a big layoff in Bellator haven't been holding an event until last week, and I just want to know how you found that. Sitting on the sidelines for so long, especially as someone so young in the career, you want to be fighting as much as possible, don't you? Really?
Yes, I didn't like it. Obviously, a lot of fighters don't. Some fighters do. Some fighters like the layoff. Some take it as opportunity or see it as opportunity to get better. Me, I know personally, I fight better whenever I'm active, not just in terms of like my active performance during the fight, but also in growing and progressing as a fighter. Because even whenever I win, I make mistakes. Like I made plenty of mistakes in my last fight. And even after the win, we're happy we got the win. But as soon as we get back to the freaking locker room, we're already talking about the mistakes we made. So we analyze immediately. We get back to practice next week, start working on those mistakes that we realized during the fight. And when you lay me off for 10 months, I know coronavirus like played a part in it, but I wasn't even supposed to fight until May anyway. So it was going to be a long layoff regardless. But the way I look at it is, and me and my coaches, is laying me off that long. Some might see it as a plus. Some might see it as a negative. We see it as a negative because we don't get to see any more mistakes that we're making until 10 months later, 10 months later, whatever the fight ends up being. And we got to correct those mistakes after the fight, but there might be other mistakes that I'm making that we're not realizing during practice. Of course, my coaches correct things on the fly, but the fight is a different atmosphere. It's different than practice. It's different than sparring, so you make mistakes in the fight that you might not make in practice. And when you expose those to yourself, even if you win, you get to go back and work on them. So like I said, laying me off, it only hinders and halts my career and my progression a little bit further. So I didn't enjoy it. And the coronavirus just made it that much worse. So I'm looking forward to getting back in there. And hopefully after this fight, they can give me a quick turnaround.
And obviously that's the negative side, but have you took any positives from this? Have you been in the gym constantly, working on your game? Because, young guys like yourself, sometimes they go away for 10 months or whatever it is, and they come back and they look like a totally new fighter. So are you in the gym constantly working on stuff?
Yes, I train 2 to 3 times a day, every day, even when I don't have a fight coming up, off season, all of that. And that's what the champions do. And a lot of fighters say they do that, but a lot of fighters don't. Because I took this fight on 2 weeks' notice. Whoever my opponent's Mark Gardner, but whoever the opponent would have had to take the fight on 2 weeks' notice as well. And you have a lot of guys saying no and turning down the fight. And these guys will say, I'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. I'm always ready. And then you slide a name and a date across their desk. And then all of a sudden they're saying no. And they don't want to take the fight for whatever reason, whether they're not ready, whether they're scared, whether they're not like close to weight, whatever. All these guys are claiming they're ready. And then 2 weeks notice comes up. They throw a name across their desk and they say no. I train year round. They could offer me this fight for this weekend and I would have been ready. They could offer me a fight for last weekend. I would have been ready. The only thing would have been getting my weight off. And regardless, either way, I'm going to get the weight off. My concern isn't my training. My concern isn't my conditioning. That stuff's always there, and I'm always mentally sharp, always physically sharp, and always improving. But like I said, I fight better active, and the more fights I get, the faster I progress.
And has it been frustrating? Obviously, the UFC have kept going through all out of this, and you've got to watch that, sitting on the sidelines, seeing people are able to fight MMA right now, but you aren't able. Is that frustrating?
Yes, it's very frustrating. Like when the UFC started fighting up again in May, it was a little frustrating because it's like we could be fighting too. Like Bellator's the other major organization in the United States beside the UFC, and they're making it happen. So why couldn't we make it happen? And that raised a lot of questions and stuff. A lot of people started talking about it, but I'm just thankful for we're up and running right now, and I'm going to be able to fight next weekend. But to answer your question, yeah, it was frustrating, but we got through it, and I'm just excited to get in there next week.
God, I'm talking about next week. So your opponent is Mark Gardner. Do you want to know what you know about him and what you're expecting on fight night?
My coaches are the ones that kind of like break down the film and analyze him. I know what they've told me to this point. I watched one of his fights myself, but I try not to get too deep into that because I like to focus on what I'm doing. I can't control what he does up to the fight. I can't control what he does in the fight. I can only control what I do leading up to the fight to get me ready, and I can only control what I do in the fight. So I'm sticking to my game plan. It's going to be the same as it is every single time. Try to walk my opponent down, put pressure on him, make him panic, and finish him. That's my game plan, and that's going to be my game plan going in for this. I know he's probably going to be trying to take me down. From what I've seen, from what my coaches told me, he's more of like a grappler. But it's going to be very hard for him to do. Good luck trying to take me down. So I'm expecting a stand-up fight and me picking him apart until I finish him.
So that's your route to victory on the feet. And how quickly do you envision that coming? You do seem to have a lot of knockouts on your record, amateur and pro. So how quickly do you think that'll come?
First round. 5 minutes is a long time. I said the same thing my last fight. My opponent surprised me. He was resilient. He was durable. He had a strong chin. And he had no quit in him. The kid was able to fight. And I predicted that to be a first-round knockout as well. He surprised me. I got away from my game plan a little bit myself, and I feel like kudos to him and props to him for like everything he had going for him. that helped him last that long. But I feel like the biggest factor in why he lasted to the second round was me getting away from my game plan and me not fighting how I usually was. I was bouncing around a lot. I was moving a lot. It's not how I usually fight. You watch my amateur fights, you watch my pro debut, you watch me spar, train, anything. I walk my opponents down. I put pressure on him. That second fight, he was an unorthodox fighter. You know, did things differently, did things that you weren't used to, and a lot of things weren't technically correct. So it threw me off my game a little bit, and I let it throw me off my game. And I just completely changed up my game plan and my style. I was bouncing around a lot. I was in and out. I was backing up a few times just because he was always coming straight in, and I was trying to cut off an angle and counter. But I mean, a lot of the time I'm an aggressive fighter. I like to try to press the action and start the exchange myself. And I wasn't doing a lot of that in that fight. And so that was corrected. There was a lot of corrections made that last fight. And I believe all those corrections are going to lead me to a first round finish this time.
Good. And I just want to touch on something about Bellator. Obviously, you signed straight for Bellator straight as soon as you turned pro. And obviously that's not normal for a lot of people. So I just want to talk through that decision and what led you to do that.
That's not normal for a lot of people because a lot of people don't get that opportunity. Mm-hmm. Bellator doesn't offer that to just anybody. So it was a little made me a little happy, got a little excited, got a little recognition for what I did as an amateur, for my skills, for my hard work and everything. So it was a refreshing feeling. But I mean, as soon as the contract got offered to me, and not even the contract, as soon as I got the first call when everything was being negotiated, like I was all in. Like I'm like, Bellator, this is a major organization for MMA. Like we got UFC and Bellator, and that's it in the United States. And I mean, we got ONE FC over in Asia, but we're talking like two biggest organizations. And they came to me and offered me a fight straight out of amateurs. I don't care how many fights my coaches thought like I needed left as an amateur to progress and be ready for the pros. I was ready for the pros. My coaches knew I was ready for pros, but even if I wasn't, I know deep down I would have done what it was take to get what it would have taken to get ready. So I jumped on that opportunity right away, and I've been successful so far. And I plan on continuing to ride the success.
And in terms of you and Bellator, is there a game plan? Do you speak with the Bellator people and say, we fight this level of guy for so many fights and then we move through the rankings? Like, how fast do they want to push you and how fast do you want to go? And do they differ at all?
They're the ones in control. You know, I can put my 2 cents in and my opinion, and I can tell them what I want. But at the end of the day, they're the ones who offer me the opponents. They're like, I went through 3 or 4 opponents for this fight coming up. This guy finally said yes. I got offered. I'm going to keep names out of it, you know, but I got offered a guy that's 3-0. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Been a black belt for like 5 years, and it's like, all right, I said yes to that fight. Like, this kid's dangerous. Like, all undefeated as a pro, undefeated as an amateur, finished every single person by submission. 3-0, black belt. Like, this kid's dangerous. This looks good for me. I beat this kid. It looks really good for me. It's good on my resume. You know, it boosts me up quicker. Just like you said, it's a step up in competition. I'm challenging myself. And I took the fight. The guy said no. And on to the next guy. Same thing. This guy, really good, athletic. You know, his record didn't show as good as he really was when you watched him on film. But he took a couple tough losses against some legit guys. And he was really good. Took the fight against him? No. And then it just kept doing this till we finally got to this guy. I mean, this guy, he's Mark Gardner's 1-1. Nothing to take lightly. Sometimes records don't show true skill and talent. We watched the guy. He has some nice stuff that he does. He does some slick things, and we're not going to take him lightly. We obviously want to be facing a tougher challenge, and we're going to make that known after this fight. After we get this finished, we're going to make that known and be pushing for it even more.
Sounds great. And talking about after fight, what are your goals for the rest of 2020? I know you want to turn it around quick. Is there a possibility you might get 2 fights in before the end of the year?
So I'm hoping that this next turnaround, I can get out of this fight, get in and out of this fight, no damage whatsoever. That's the hope. And next fight be as soon as, I don't know, September. That's what I would love to fight in September. I mean, a month turnaround, give me a couple days to, like, you know, get my weight back up, like let the effects of cutting weight like wear off, you know, get back in training, and then get ready, actually have a little bit of time to get ready for the next opponent and game plan, and get another fight in September. And then if we can get another fight in September, I'll bang another one out of that after that. I mean, the way we train hard. We're always in shape. It's just about, like, getting the fights. So like I said, we get in and out of this fight with no damage, and we're able to take the next fight. We'll take it as soon as they'll give it to us. Same thing with the fight after that. If we can get 3 fights total in by the end of the year, that would be ideal.
And just before I let you go, obviously you're a young up and coming guy, and I always like to hear what your ultimate goals are. Like, when you're all said and done with this sport, where do you want to be?
I want to be up there with the biggest names, period. I want to be in the talks of the greatest ever. And I know a lot of people say that, but I've sacrificed a lot of things over my career, over my lifetime, to get to where I'm at right now. And I'm not going to sell myself short. I just need the opportunity, and I need time to show that I can be up there, that I can be good. I just need the opportunity. And I've gotten the opportunity with Bellator so far. Like, I'm signing one of the biggest promotions now. I just need to get the fights. I need to get the time under my belt. But I truly believe I could be up there. I sacrificed so many things. I sacrificed time. I sacrificed money. I sacrificed, like, I wasn't able to go on vacations like everybody else. And whenever I was in college and spring break, I never drank alcohol a day in my life, ever, not once. Didn't even try a sip. That's something I gave up from the time that I was a teenager. Like, never even gave it a try in high school. Never smoked weed. Never did any drugs. Don't go out and party. I don't go out to bars. Close relationships, they dwindled. Like, friendships, girlfriends, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I gave up, a lot of stuff that I sacrificed, and I'm not going to sell myself short, because I did all that to be the greatest. And that's what I want to do at the end of my career.